Hey, this is Cole Cabana, and you are listening to the Angry Marks podcast. You are an Angry Mark, and you are listening to a podcast.
Well, Joel, I think you hit the nail on the head with the mix. I mean, look at the Dudleys. I mean, between Spike and Devon and Bubba Ray, they were a pretty interesting unit in themselves. So, hey, you have to have a Studley Dudley, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, adopted into the family. Studley Dudley, for sure. And of course, Studley Dudley was not sired by Big Daddy Dudley like the rest of them were. They were all half brothers. And I was kind of a adopted brother or a step brother or whatever. But yeah, Studley Dudley for sure. And again, you know, just one of the highlights for sure of my wrestling career so far.
What else you got, Zane?
Well, Joel, how's your neck doing?
Neck's going great. As great as it can be going for somebody who's been in a neck brace for about 18 years now. It was healed entirely. I had medical clearance to go out there without it and was all set to embark on, you know, the next portion of my ECW career as co-host on ECW on TNN without the neck brace. And then I think I lasted maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, without the neck brace, if that long, and then took 3D on the Dudley Boyz way out the door. And with that 3D, I was right back in the neck brace. And use it now, get it checked every once in a while. It gets progressively better, month by month, year after year. They tell me I might not be in it forever. They cite cases like Iron Mike Sharp in the forearm cast. That's been cited to me. So that's basically because, you know, doctors, they don't really perform medicine. They practice it forever. Even when they're good at it, they practice it. So they have to give you the little disclosure and disclaimer of, well, it could be like Iron Mike Sharp that you're, you know, forever. But they're hopeful that maybe after another few years or another few decades, I can simply wear it as a fashionable cunnilingus neck stabilizer as opposed to an actual soft cervical neck collar. So
this is the Undisputed Wrestling Show. We're talking to the quintessential stud muffin himself, Joel Gertner. Oh, that was a good one.
Hey Joel,
yeah.
You're a fan of the WWE Network, correct?
Yes, sir.
So you've watched Legends House, correct?
Absolutely. Religiously.
So if you were cast on an ECW version of the Legends House, what other performers would you like to see on in the house with you?
That sounds like so much fun in and of itself and so much of a blessing that I wouldn't care who else was in the cast, who my roommates or housemates were, and I would definitely consider doing it for minimal pay.
So you would definitely do it, but who would you want as like your top 3 or 4 house guests that you'd want to be on there with you?
Oh my gosh. I'm
putting you on the spot, and I don't want to hear Kimono Wanalea and
I was about to say,
Gilla McGillicuddy and Dawn Marie.
Right. Well, we could have at least 1 or 2 or 5 women in the house, right?
Of course.
I don't know. I mean, in the Dudley family alone, I mean, hopefully I wouldn't hit the Dudley quota and there wouldn't be any other Dudleys on my ECW season of Legends House. Because there were so many great, right? Because cousin Butch Dudley and cousin Luke Dudley, right? And that, but of course, though, Bubba and Devon and Spike and Sign Guy and
Big Dick.
Gosh, everybody. Big Dick, part of the Dudleys, and Chubby Dudley, Dances with Dudley, Snot Dudley, Dudley. So many Dudleys. And then beyond that, man, I mean, to live in a house with, Tommy Dreamer, would be interesting. Bob Van Dam, Sandman, Sabu. To live in a house with Balls Mahoney would be interesting. Oh my gosh. To live in a house with, I don't know, again, I think it would be interesting. I think it would definitely be, a house of hardcore. And I think it would definitely be, a madhouse of extreme. You know, it would be like the Extreme Asylum. It would be crazy. I don't know that one building would be able to contain it.
Well, let me ask you this, Joel. Let me ask this, Joel, if I can. How did you get inspiration for the character, and how was it all you? Did you have influence from Heyman, or how did that work? How did you come up with the quintessential stud muffin?
Yeah, I mean, you know, every show, every pre-show was almost like having a 10-minute powwow or a 10-minute kind of, you know, creative committee meeting with one of the greatest minds in the business. And it was very collaborative, and, you know, I had creative input, which, you know, being that I was in my early 20s was amazing. And, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a work in progress, and we just, you know, saw what was working and saw what stuck, what were people reacting to and wanting more of, what were people, you know, in a sense, what makes great heels and be hated and draw money, what did people want less of that it would make sense to give them more of, so that they didn't like it, but in the way that they would pay money to see it. You know, all of that. So everything was a constant, it was just flux, you know, it was completely fluid and liquid, and it was constantly evolving and progressing. So, you know, Quintessential Stud Muffin, the nickname, was given to me, I think, as an homage by Paul to the Universal Heartthrob, Austin Idol.
Austin Idol.
Who he managed early in his career around the same age that I was managing the Dudleys. So Quintessential Stud Muffin was the next generation of Universal Heartthrob, Austin Idol. Well was something evil and nefarious that if it wouldn't have been said by the Quintessential Stud Muffin Joel Gertner, it would probably be something spouted by Mojo Jojo on the Powerpuff Girls. So that's something, you know, Paul decided I should open up with one time, and one time became, you know, 1,000 plus times. Aside from that, you know, again, constant work in progress. I mean, we did a show at Body Slams Arena in Reading, which was a small silo. It was like a barn. We did that, and it was hot in the building, and I decided that maybe it would be, number one, good for business and my gimmick, number two, more comfortable if I could work without a shirt on and just a jacket. So that was the first night without the shirt. When I took Total Elimination, that's what put me in the neck brace, and I decided as long as I'm going to wear a neck brace, I should still wear the bow tie just over the neck brace. And then the neck brace went from just being, you know, organic white to, you know, patterned so that, you know, along the way it's been polka dotted and paisley and houndstooth and everything else.
Hey, you're a new version of the Chippendales, Joel, right?
Indeed.
All right.
I am, man. Yeah. And that's about it. So it was constantly a work in progress. And I went from being a heel to being, you know, people, I guess, loving to hate me, and then went through a little bit of a tweener phase to transition over to ECW on TNN, and then became kind of, I don't know, an edgy babyface or a kind of shock babyface, or, you know, because Joey, I guess, you know, was, depending on how you look at it, you know, either the straight man or a babyface. I hate to call the play-by-play guys baby faces too much, though, because I don't want the, you know, negative, the kind of derogatory connotation, because he was never a cheerleader. But, you know, Joey was Joey, you know, one of the best in the business ever, and the best at doing his style, obviously, by definition. And somehow I was able to be not a heel and tell, you know, sex jokes and, you know, dirty limericks, and it still worked. There was still, you know, it was a good partnership with a good charisma, and a nice kind of back and forth and a dynamic where we could, you know, be playful, and he could, you know, look at me like, you can't say that on wrestling, and I could, you know, rib him a bit and, you know, be a little bit heelish, but still be somebody that the heels could pick on, either in ring during show intros or during kind of interstitial stuff or whatever. So, yeah.
You know, I've heard you in some recent interviews talk about not wanting to be a one-trick pony and be remembered really for just one thing. Obviously, in today's wrestling environment, a quintessential stud muffin Joel Gertner would not get a lot of television time, obviously. How would you do it now? Let's say you were in the WWE or TNA now, and we'll get to TNA too, what happened with TNA and why you weren't there, but how could you make the quintessential stud muffin go over in today's PG world?